afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Democratic View. I'm the hostess. My name is Phyllis Italiano, and for the first time that I have ever done the show in 3 years, I got two men here with me. How do you like that? They are our candidates for trustee, Francis Bock and Bill Taylor. Two very, very, well, I'd say, I don't want to say old faces, but I want to say certainly familiar faces in our town. And we're going to start with you telling me what you do in the town, because I know you work in the town as well, and a little bit about who you are and where you come from.
Okay, I'm a lifelong resident of East Hampton. Graduated East Hampton High School. I work for the town of East Hampton in the Office of Housing and Community Development, where we do affordable housing and projects around town.
You mean you were born and raised here?
I was.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh, I hate that. I get very jealous.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, what a great thrill it must have been to have been here in those years, because
Big changes.
I know you saw a lot of changes.
Yeah.
You know, I like to tell people I was in Jamesport in the early 50s as a very small kid, and, well, you know, I had to come back because it's such a great place. And Bill, what about you?
I've been living out here for 27 years. I've worked for the town. I moved out here because I got a job out here as a senior harbor master. And this place reminds me of Lake Ronkonkoma, where I grew up in my youth. You know, Lake Ronkonkoma was beautiful then. And
I remember Lake Ronkonkoma. I
yeah.
used to pass it on my way
Yeah.
to Riverhead, which was also very nice in those days.
And this place just seemed like it was, you know, the Lake Ronkonkoma of my youth was all open space and nice woods and everything like that. But I love it out here. I started working for the town as a senior harbor master, and was promoted to water waste management supervisor, and I've been working here for 27 years now. Because of the work I did, I'm extremely familiar with every inch of the coast and all the harbors and everything, and been a trustee for 2 years. We're trying to make sure everything stays as nice as it is.
Yes, I'm sure you know that Lake Ronkonkoma was closed many times during this
When I was a
last
kid,
year.
we used to swim across the lake. We used to be down here in April. It was gorgeous, and I keep thinking about how something that was once so beautiful can become, you know, I think you can get an ear infection from just looking at it now. I mean, it's a shame. You know, but you have, that's why, like when you see our ponds starting to get algae and stuff in them, now's the time to fix it. It's easy to, you know, we have to really work diligently to get everything cleaned up, or before you know it, it's going to be closed. And that would, we're surrounded by such a beautiful area. I really think, you know, one of the reasons I'm running for trustee is I just think that they can be so much more effective in the fight to clean up all of this stuff. You know, I mean, by cooperating with people, not giving up any powers or anything like that, but working together for the collective goal everybody has, which is to give us clean water and to keep our waters clean. I mean, it's still so beautiful out here. We have the best fishing in the world. You can shellfish almost every place. Surf breaks, the best beaches. I mean, you know.
My daughter gave me a dozen oysters last night, and I steamed them open and had them for dinner.
Good.
And said, woo!
Yeah.
You know, it's almost skipping around the house.
They're really great, you know, I mean.
Yeah.
And they're wonderful things for keeping the water clean, too. Oysters
Yes, they are.
filter
That's
an
true.
incredible
That's
amount
something
of
people
water.
don't realize.
Yeah.
Is that the oyster, you know, is a filter.
There's so many things we could be doing out here to help. You know, all our waters suffer like a million little insults every day, and we got to come up with a million little solutions for them and keep it going. Francis has been fortunate enough to live here forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, I mean, we have to be doing the little bit that we can certainly helps. The problem is certainly much larger than us, but I don't think that we can ignore what we've done in the past to keep the waters clean, and that seems to be what's going on these days. So.
Well, we all know that when we lose our water to drink and our water to swim in, we have nothing.
Yeah.
What we have is valueless, because that's why people come here. That supports our economy.
Absolutely.
No, the water's the basis for our environment, and the environment out here is the basis for our economy.
That's right.
People come out here. We did another show in the past with Rick Drew, one of our other candidates, and he's a water athlete. He manages Maine Beach Surf and Sports, and he says that the recreational water activities are one of the strongest upcoming things for our future economy out here. Those people come out, and they come out because the beaches are so nice, but the recreation doesn't really deplete anything. It keeps things nice, and they come out here, and they don't come out here and sit in their cars. They come out here and they eat, they drink, they spend money, they stay in motels, and it's another thing that can really enhance our economy out here.
Are you talking to me? I'm in the water twice a day.
Okay.
I'm a Maidstone Park swimmer, and I think I one day racked up 700 strokes.
That's where my children learned to swim.
Oh God,
That's where I learned to swim.
I just love that area, I swear. I mean, I passed it on the way coming here and said, see you and me. Take care of yourself. Because it really is such a great bay, such a great bay. And I got to tell you, the truth of the matter is I went 35 years to Fire Island. So I'm an old hand at water. I remember Great South Bay when I first got there in the 60s, and the scallops used to dance across the water right where you got the boat in Fair Harbor.
Yeah.
That's how many were there. It is now dead.
Yeah.
It is a dead bay.
Yeah, when I was young, we had a 36-foot boat that we kept in the Great South Bay. Really cool boat with a big swordfish pulpit on the front, and it used to be all over the place. My brother used to clam there when he was going to school, and that's what we don't want to see all those troubles that are up there come out here. It's so much easier to prevent them than it is to get rid of them.
Yes, indeed. You're absolutely right. It is easier to work on, maintaining something than it is to cut it when it's like the Great South Bay.
Now's the time to start, working industriously to get everything straightened out. And I think, we've been working on this stuff for a long time. I mean, some of the dredging projects and stuff, we want to really get done. I mean,
like where? Tell me where.
well, I mean, I've been involved in the biggest dredging projects in town. I know I know who to talk to and how to get things done. But Francis and I almost had a dredging program working at one time, weren't you?
I did 2 terms on the trustees previously. My last term, I think it was 2009. And at that time, Bill, myself, Pat Manser was involved, Norman Edwards. We were so close to having a town dredging program. Excuse me. We had spec'd out the dredge, put together how we would get the people to work it, and unfortunately, that's about the same time the economy crashed out here.
Oh,
so we lost it. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And what does the dredging do? Tell me what the dredging does.
It will increase the flow of water into the harbors and the channels. My pet peeve right now is the culvert on Girard Drive in Accabonac. It's been covered in sand for 3 years.
Yeah.
And the work just needs to get done.
The dredging out here, especially out here, a lot of the harbors, get filled up with bad things because there's not enough water exchange. Look out here, we're surrounded by thousands of square miles of beautiful, wonderful water. What happens in the harbors if the water doesn't get exchanged a lot, because all the way at the end of a harbor or something, that water might stay there for a long time and it gets a chance to build things up. Especially if the harbor is shoal, the water can't flow back and forth. So what the dredging does if you do it in the right spots, is it keeps the water circulating. And when the water circulates, it stays clean. It's
I'm
not
all for
stagnant.
that.
Yeah.
So is that going to be one of your goals?
It's going to be one of our goals, one of our projects.
We're discussing it amongst ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we did it, it's not cheap, but
What they have done in the past is they've relied on the county to do the projects. And there were times where you were on a waiting list for 5 years. Excuse me.
So.
And our thought is if we had our own small dredge, which could be moved from site to site, we could do the maintenance ourselves. And
those are the kind of concepts we'd like to see. We'd like to see the trustees become more proactive. I mean, that's what it's going to take right now.
Did you hear that, God?
Yeah. Right
No
now,
mouth to God's ears.
Yeah.
like right now, everything around here is still gorgeous and beautiful and everything, but now's the time to make sure it stays that way.
I like to always tell the story about when I came out here first. My friend Nora Ferrari was a colleague in Yonkers Public Schools, and she had me come out. Now, I was saying to myself, good God, I could be in Fire Island. What a long drive. I was moaning and groaning all the way on the LIE. And then I made that turn. I took one look at this place and fell madly in love. And I thought, that was it.
Most beautiful village in the world, right?
I mean, my God. The following year, I came out to buy a place. I just absolutely adored it.
Yeah,
It was such an exquisite.
yeah, and it's still beautiful, even with all the development we've seen.
Right. Yeah, you can go to places where, look, where I swim in the month of September, there ain't nobody around. And I say 12 million people that way.
Yeah.
Best time of year.
And, there I am in the water.
We don't want to televise. We don't want to put the word out about September too much.
That's true.
It's kind of our.
It's all a little secret,
Yeah.
Actually, I usually swim till the end of October.
Yeah, no, it's nice. The water's warmer now than it is in the spring.
Well, I wouldn't really call it warmer.
Oh,
No, it's warmer than the spring, you're right.
I wouldn't call it warm.
Yeah,
but
no,
you get
because
used to that.
I go in April also,
That's
and
the other
I
thing
can
that
tell you
comes-
in April.
comes with age.
That's cold.
You
It
can't
is
tolerate.
really
can't tolerate the cold.
So when you want to do this kind of dredging type of thing,
We want to work. These are the projects we want to work on. You have to get a plan together. You have to assemble, the finances and the troops and the plans and all that stuff. Those are some of the. That's like we almost had it done, then it got blown up. With the finances, with different administrations.
do you have to go to the DEC to get
If you
permits?
have to, if you can't do anything without the cooperation of everybody, but if you have the right plan, we're not trying to, the trustees. The goal of the trustees is, and should be, just to keep everything nice, and there'd be no problem getting everybody in line. You need the Army Corps of It. You need a lot of stuff, but we want to do. There's a lot of things that need to be. Some things need to be improved. Some things need to be kept just the same. I keep hearing that the Democrats are going to do away with beach driving and stuff like that, which is like so ridiculous. I can't believe it.
Well, it's the typical Republican campaign.
That's what they say
fear.
every 2 years, the typical Republican campaign.
Right.
I'd like to talk about that a little later too, because this campaign is weird. It
Yes.
seems like the Republicans have brought their campaign out from Center Reach or someplace. They have trucks going around banging in the same 3 signs on every street corner. I heard they're spending $300,000 on their campaign, and thank God they're not spending it wisely. I mean, there's one thing out here
What a good point.
they don't seem to realize is that we are still a small town.
Yes,
People know each other.
that's true.
People know each other, and all of the repetitive bomb, 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 it's not going to change anything. That's the way you have to do it up in Center Reach, in Brookhaven Town, where Tommy Noble's new home is. Not his new home; he's been there for 10 years, right?
That's true. Yeah.
But up there, everything's so dense and so populated and so crowded and has no natural resources that you have to keep banging these people's names, constantly. So when somebody walks into the voting booth, they're looking at a bunch of, they don't know those, who they're voting for. Out here, everybody in town knows Larry. Everybody in town knows Sylvia. Everybody in town knows Peter. So that's why I'm not a real big fan of street signs anyhow. I don't like them. I think they just litter, but.
Well, you're right, they are litter. They are litter when there's too many. I mean, when it's done
When people put them
respectfully,
on
it's
their
not so bad,
property
but
and stuff like that, I like it.
too much, it's like,
Yeah.
come on, how many?
Key is
how
to
many of the
remove them
same
day after
sign
election
over and
day.
over? It's like, come on, this is, grow up. And
I've heard this hired people running up to people's doors, knocking on your door, hanging stuff on your doorknob. I saw somebody did it at my house. I heard the bell rang, and I got there like 30 seconds later, and there's somebody scurrying down my driveway. And I look at my doorknob, and there's a thing, vote for
the other guys.
vote for Tommy Noble. Yeah, it's another wasted trip.
Well, the truth of the matter is that we have gotten a very good response from at least the newspapers, and we're looking forward to a terrific victory. But what I really want, what I'm hoping that you guys will do is, I think that if you really will get a good team together of all of you, that you really can move forward with some of these things that need to be done.
This team that's running on the Democratic line, Bill and I have been working on for almost a year to put together. And we really have some good people.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I've interviewed almost all of them.
Yeah. No, but I know Francis and I both, I'm on the trustees now, my first term, and, Francis has been there before, and we just both think it's time for change. I think it's time for some new blood.
Just time to get things done.
Just time to get things done, to start moving this. It seems to be a fight over who's top dog, who's, we all want the same thing. We all want to clean up the water. I think we should start working together, and that's what we want to, we hope the voters see the wisdom in what we're trying to do, and, we put a pretty good team together. Our team is so good that the Independence Party has endorsed most of us.
Yes. Yes.
And
Some young blood, which is,
Yeah.
people who have
we
some
have a
training.
very balanced. I think we have a really, really, really balanced team. Because even everybody running on a Democratic line, there's no unity of vision there or anything like that. Everybody comes from a different perspective, and that's how you get a good idea. Is when you discuss it, with people that maybe have slightly different points of view, different viewpoints.
And you have a real discussion. I have
Yeah.
watched, first of all, it took a long time for LTV to be able to get in there to even film
Yeah, well, that was another.
those meetings, And in that little room is not exactly the most advantageous place for, the greatest setting for that
well,
kind of
hopefully,
Francis was the clerk of the trustees, and they had a totally different system.
well, we would, as long as I've been aware of the trustees and followed them, they always met at town hall, like every other board. And
Are you kidding?
no. And at that time, I brought up the idea of why are we not filming our meetings for LTV? And in unison, it was like it was rehearsed. It was absolutely not. And so that was that.
It's secret meetings?
Yeah.
Seems to be.
Ooh, witch's brew? Oh,
And we've been
wow.
agitating too. We've been agitating, probably more than agitating, to get the LTV into the meetings
So,
this year, and we finally did it.
and I've seen them setting up for the meetings down in that little room, and how difficult it is for
It is very
for your
difficult.
technician.
It's very
Yeah.
difficult, and
It's
the
not-
sound is not very good.
It is not.
You have to believe me, sound is very important in any kind of taping, with that you do, and it's very hard.
Well, we've had talks with the current town board members, and they're more than anxious to have us back at town hall.
Yes, like all the other boards. You watch the other board; they're all up there, and you can
Well,
get.
it's the public's business.
That's right.
Public should be able to observe what's going on, see what's going on. We have a lot of ideas. We'd like to see. I saw a thing in the Star today, which is kind of an idea we've been talking about for years, is to try and have the trustee elections not be 9 seats open at the same time every 2 years, which creates this stampede of 18 people. I've always thought it would be nice if the trustees were serving like 3-year terms, and every year 3 of them were up for election. The Star this morning was advocating maybe having it 5 and 4.
Well, I myself would advocate the idea of the town actually choosing the clerk.
Well, having an election for the clerk.
Exactly.
Having the town, having a clerk be a separate.
Gentlemen, you are getting very innovative now.
Well,
wow, that's wonderful.
It's been turned into a full-time position. I believe it's paying about $70,000 a year.
Actually, more than the council.
Well, I guess,
people make,
Yes. So why shouldn't the voting public have the say of who that person is? And it's more difficult to find somebody to take that position because it is full-time.
Yes.
You know?
Wow, that's. But I do like the idea of staggered elections as well.
Yeah.
Because it's very difficult.
No, I really think the trustees are such an important position. We went to the event that they had at Ashwag Hall the other night. Was the first time that the trustees were given an opportunity to individually speak.
That was the spring CAC.
Yeah, the spring CAC.
Of which I am a voting
But that
member.
should be, I mean, you shouldn't be running for public office by waving from an audience or something like that. I mean, people should hear what you have to think.
No, but we had discussions earlier about, can we set up a debate somehow? How can you debate with 18 people? It's like watching the Republican debate last night. You know?
Yeah. No, if we could, I
almost
mean,
as bad.
to have a meaningful thing. I mean, if it was 3 people running at a time, that would make 6 candidates. That's really doable.
Mm-hmm.
You could have debates, you could have discussion, you could find out what the person's all about. 5 and 4 would be better than now. I'd like to go with 3, 3, and 3 for 3-year terms, but all these things can be worked out.
Yeah, and how would you work it out? Does that
You'd have to
come
it'd have to be a change in the election cycle. It'd have to be, I mean, you could have.
Would that have to go to referendum?
It'd probably have to go to referendum. I mean, but but if we start the process, it might not happen yesterday, but you could get it done in a couple of years. You'd have to, the first step toward breaking it up like that would be to get a Democratic majority on the board that wanted to do it.
Well, if people really consider the trustee as being an important position, then it should be like that. It should be that when we elect them, we have an opportunity to hear from them.
You get to know them
before
you
You're
vote
absolutely right. That what we had at the spring CAC, that was the first time.
But
we had
even
a
that,
chance.
you had 15 people up there talking for 2 minutes. I mean, it's way better than anything else that's happened so far.
At least we got to see what they look like in real
But,
life.
I don't think it's adequate. You should have a chance to interact with people. You could ask them questions. I mean, so it's going to require a block of a couple. But if you had, three seats open at a time, or even 5 and 4, you would have a much more of an opportunity to get to know the people.
Yes, and to see what they stand for and to
It
understand
would
what
give
their goals are.
It would give the board more continuity also, because you wouldn't, theoretically, the board could change in one election.
Right.
Yeah, and then you're right, continuity would also be a benefit. And
I think there's all kinds of great reasons. I mean, I just think that there's a group in there that likes things just the way they are and trying to do everything in the world to keep anything from changing.
Yeah.
And that's.
And it is 2015.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something we have to recognize.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, the trustees are fantastic. I just don't think I really think they could do much, much more than they're doing right now.
And they're obligated to.
Yeah.
One of the things I have often said on this show, I sometimes repeat myself a little bit too much, but the name of this place is Beach. And that's what must be maintained. The beach, the waters, are essential. I mean, nobody's going to come here if we can't swim in the water. Does anybody go to Lake Ronkonkoma and swim there anymore?
No.
No. Lake Ronkonkoma, you're right.
What
You
are
get
you,
an ear
crazy?
infection
Yeah.
if you walk in
Yeah.
there, I mean, we have to make sure that these things are maintained and kept as pristine as they are now.
Francis and I, Francis, there's an incredible amount of knowledge in this town. If you can focus it, if you get it together. I was on the local, when we did the LWRP,
Tell us what those, in case the people.
local waterfront revitalization plan.
I know.
And it was amazing the amount of expertise we gathered up out of the community and put together in a document. That expertise is here. It's a matter of making an effort to correct some of these problems. Cesspools, they're bad. But the town not too long ago entered into a program where there was a financial incentive given to people to remove their fuel oil tanks, which were a potential thing.
You know what?
Why don't you just do the same thing?
Well, I was just talking to Larry about that on the last show that we did, and it is something that is one of his goals.
Yeah.
And gentlemen, all I got to say is we got to continue to do everything we can to keep East Hampton, because that's my goal in
Bub.
life.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming, and good luck. I know you're going to
having us.
win, and we're going to have a wonderful celebration that says, "Yay, we made it! We made it!" And then we'll have all of those meetings at a place where we can hear the sound.
Yeah.
Well, we would like to.
And you can sit.
And you can sit, right?
They
And
should
you can
also,
talk.
and some of those things. There was a couple issues that came up this year that you knew were going to draw big crowds. And you would think that if you wanted everybody to hear what's going on, you would have got a bigger room for just one occasion.